Hey folks, today is Friday, February 15th, 2019. Hope you had a okay to mediocre Valentine's Day. My name, as always, is Jake Baldino, and we're here to talk about video game news that has been going on this week. And it's been quite a week. First thing, let's get right into it. If you've noticed from probably the headline of this video, some interesting statements by Sony higher-up Shawn Layden recently in an interview. He recently went on record with CNET. It's a very interesting interview. If you want to check it out, it's all linked in the description below, as well as everything else I talk about. But he went in depth describing like what his job is in terms of overseeing all of the studios that make exclusive PlayStation platform games for them. He also said a lot of things that I think people want to hear, which is very interesting. He did declare that all streaming, all digital platform gaming is still years away. He said Sony's still going to focus on, building up more traditional titles and trying to innovate in stuff like VR and whatever else comes next with that. He also said that Sony first-party games don't really need to get into the Battle Royale territory because he thinks that there is plenty out there. But the most interesting quote from Shawn Layden is this: I think we've done a lot over the last 3 or 4 years to get us to a place right now where we're building fewer games per year than ever before, but we're spending more time, more energy, certainly more money on making them. If you want to read that quote and take that as Sony's directive, their mindset moving forward, that reads like they're prioritizing quality over quantity, which I think for a lot of people is a good thing. He also said that if, him and higher-ups have to make the decision to delay a game, they will delay it as many times as they need to because they want good stuff. The interview is really interesting if you want to see where Sony's head is at moving forward. I also thought it was interesting to bring up because lately I feel like we've had a lot of Microsoft, Xbox news to cover, but Sony's been kind of quiet, so this is good.
You're gonna knock that chair over. I'm gonna need to refocus you.
Yeah, this stool is definitely...
I see it flexing under your weight. Please stop, Jake. It's going to break.
If it breaks on camera, though, then it'll go viral and we'll make $1 million.
It's twisting like a bridge in a disaster movie.
Not only that, but if you are into video game business inside baseball and stuff, Sony does have new leadership that I think is pretty interesting, and it can provide a little bit of insight into what we'll hear in the coming years. So as you guys probably know, John Codera has been president of PlayStation for some time now, not very long, but he is of course filling in for Andrew House, the head of PlayStation for quite some time, that has stepped down. But Codera will soon be replaced by Jim Ryan, who was previously vice president of PlayStation. Jim Ryan, of course, if you don't know, was also head of PlayStation Europe, and he's an interesting choice because I feel like in the past couple of years, anytime he's gone on record during some sort of interview, he's said some things. If you want, just look it up, but he's certainly had some kind of weird quotes around stuff like Gran Turismo from the whole crossplay debacle. He didn't exactly say the right things during interviews for that, but interestingly enough, he said he is going to focus on building up PlayStation even more, obviously. That's just typical president CEO speak. But he threw around the word interactive entertainment a lot and building up the services, and interestingly enough, Codera is now moving over to just work on PlayStation Network services and stuff like that. To me, I hear that, and I still see them doubling down on the rise of games as a service, but that's just me. Ultimately, will we see big changes immediately? I don't know, but with Jim Ryan coming on, ideally with the coming of PlayStation 5 or whatever, it could get interesting. But speaking of interesting, Activision Blizzard, as you know, has been in the news because they recently laid off almost 800 people despite having a year of record profits. That is extremely unfortunate and very not cool, but also, interestingly enough, Blizzard has announced that they have no real big titles coming for the fiscal year of 2019. Now, we don't know for sure whether or not they were acknowledging Diablo Immortal, the mobile game that everybody wants, or the vanilla World of Warcraft thing, but still, that's it. That's very interesting for, Blizzard and Activision, who have seen some rocky times recently. I don't think they're going away anytime soon, but it is definitely an odd time for them. I'm very curious to see what you guys think of that, especially as Blizzard fans. Are you happy just with them maybe doubling down on Overwatch for a while? Are you waiting for Warcraft 3 Remaster? I guess that'll drop too. Still, those aren't big tentpole titles for them, so I'm curious to see what they're going to do with going quite a few years before dropping a big thing. So how's Jump Force?
Whack as hell, but the part where you actually play is real cool.
Is it too much anime? Or not? Or
There's no
just
such thing as too much anime, Jake.
But of course, Nintendo fans, you probably had a good week because there was a pretty decent Nintendo Direct. We'll just run through real quick to keep you guys caught up. First, we got a new Platinum Games game called Astral Plane that, I don't know, the combat looks pretty badass. Also, graphically for Nintendo Switch, that's impressive. We're also getting a Link's Awakening remake. Personally, I think one of the best Zelda games. That was actually my first Zelda game. Can I get an amen for Link's Awakening?
Amen.
Woo!
Amen.
We're also getting Super Mario Maker 2 for Nintendo Switch, which I'm very curious to see just how that will control, because the original Mario Maker just was really good with the Wii U gamepad. We're also getting new amiibos, including the Pokemon trainer, Simon from Castlevania, awesomely, and Solid Snake. So basically, I will buy 10 of them. We got a new look at the Nintendo Switch Fire Emblem and a release date of July 26th. Also, a surprise launch of Tetris 99, free if you have Nintendo Online services, which I still didn't ever subscribe to that. But it's basically like a Tetris Battle Royale thing. Resident Tetris fan. What's up? Is that good?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
All right, you heard it here first. Also, Final Fantasy VII is coming to Nintendo Switch on March 26th. That's pretty cool, too. There's a lot on the horizon for Nintendo Switch. I'm really excited. It's a console that I very much enjoy, so I thought this was a pretty satisfying Direct. I'm curious to see what you guys in the comments think, like what you like from this Direct the most if you're a Nintendo fan. But now we got to move on and talk about more law businessy type things. A Call of Duty Black Ops 4 lawsuit. So this is circling around Prophet, a character who was a Black Ops 3 character who was also a Black Ops 4 character, but kind of like in a prequel way. He's less mechanized. That's a whole other story. But essentially, the WWE wrestler Booker T, believe it or not, is suing Activision over the likeness of not his wrestling persona G.I. Bro, but actually like a comic book version representation of his character. Essentially has the same look of Prophet as Prophet appears in Black Ops 4. You could chalk it up as like the same hairstyle, same hat, everything like that. I'm just gonna present that to you guys. I'm curious to see what you guys think. I don't really think this is a big deal. I do think this is gonna become like another thing, like how Lindsay Lohan was suing because they used her likeness in Grand Theft Auto 5, even though it was pretty loose. Just more legal stuff, really. If you also missed it, the Carlton Dance Fortnite thing did get denied in a court. Just food for thought. But now let's talk about some fun stuff. The first thing we got, this is all going to be linked in the description below. We're just going to present you guys some stuff. First, we got a new trailer for Resident Evil 2, the DLC of Ghost Survivor Stories. These are essentially following side characters in the Resident Evil 2 universe. They look like mini little adventures. What we get from the trailer is some good glimpses of gameplay. It seems like mostly the same environments, but awesome new enemy types and some awesome weapons. I'm very much looking forward to running home and downloading this after I'm done with literally every game that is releasing this Friday. God. But yeah, the fact that Capcom is putting that out for free if you already own Resident Evil 2, I think is magnifico. Also, in case you missed it, I don't know how this flew under the radar, but Hollow Knight is getting a complete sequel. The way they were teasing it, we thought we were going to get an expansion or DLC, but this is a full-fledged game where now you play as Hornet, new enemy types, combat looks way more exciting, and the trailer shows you a lot of like what you're going to get in this game, and I like that. I can't wait to play this. Hollow Knight is so underrated. But in the spirit of Resident Evil 2, a shout out to this modder Crazy Potato who essentially made a Dino Crisis Regina skin in Resident Evil 2. He also made a skin for the male dude, Dylan, that takes place over the Leon skin, but Regina is the best. I see this, I appreciate this PC mod, thank you, and it just makes me think about Dino Crisis and how I wish they remade that. Maybe one day, I don't know. Also, this is funny if you've been following the whole Metro Exodus Epic Games Steam debacle. A lot of people are really riled up about that, let me tell you. I don't know if you've seen any comment sections. But interestingly enough, Twitter user Robot Brush got his hands on a physical copy of the game on PC, and lo and behold, he posted a picture of, it's just funny, it's like they slapped a sticker over it covering the Steam logo, and now it's an Epic logo. It shows how last minute that, I guess, decision really was. And in case you did miss it, we got a new study about video game violence and the link between that and aggressive teenagers and stuff like that, and apparently this is being hailed as one of the most definitive ones yet. This is from the Oxford Internet Institute, and one of the best breakdowns of it, if you want, is like people who are probably the best in the business, gamesindustry.biz. They detail a study that, and I quote, says, "The idea that violent video games drive real-world aggression is a popular one, but it hasn't tested very well over time." Basically, the report does its own independent testing, and it's important because apparently the way the tests were conducted are completely different than the way tests have been conducted previously. Not only that, they do cite that in a lot of data it suggests that researchers' biases have actually affected this study and the way it was conducted and everything like that, with a lot of self-reporting. This is completely different. They studied a sample of 14 and 15-year-olds, over 2,000 of them, and they've concluded that violent video game engagement is not associated with adolescents' aggressive behavior. Interestingly enough, too, I thought this was kind of funny. The report does acknowledge that there is no correlation found between video games and aggressive behavior, but researchers did say that video games can temporarily make somebody a little angry or a little reactive, which I see as like the sciencey official way on paper describing rage quitting. There's a lot more to it. I am not what you would call a smart man, so if you do want to check it out, it's linked in the description below. It's a good read. I would say check it out if you want to be informed and if you want to, definitely school someone at the dinner table over the next holiday. But, also, big PSA, Spotify and Capcom. Capcom has actually recently released a whole bunch of soundtracks on Spotify. Capcom had a Spotify page. It already had stuff like, Mega Man and the newer Street Fighter games, but now they've dumped a whole catalog of stuff from old Monster Hunter games to the Phoenix Wright soundtracks to stuff like Okami, and it's totally awesome. I am just very much a big fan of video game music, and I am a Spotify subscriber, so this makes me happy to see. Just to bring things around real quick to keep you guys caught up, a lot of games have dropped. Basically what we have right now is we have a before you buy up for Metro Exodus, which I think is very good. We put one up for Crackdown 3, which is interesting, I'll say that. As a fan, I'm happy, but there's some caveats to that. We're also working on one for Far Cry New Dawn. I'm just going to put up some first impressions on that. And we're working on one for Jump Force. So there's going to be a lot of before you buys and stuff dropping. So most importantly, I want you guys to check those out, but also I want to know what you guys are interested in most, like what you're planning on playing this weekend. Because like I always say, like we try and gauge what people are playing, like in our comments and stuff, and like where we move forward and what type of video we make. But before we do go, we got to do that console giveaway we do every single week. You know how it goes by now. There's a link in the description below. You click it to sign up. You enter once, then you're entered for good. And then every week we go in and randomly choose one person to win a free console of their choice. And this week's winner is going to be this person right here. Congratulations. Be sure to keep an eye on your inbox and your spam box, most importantly, because we're going to be reaching out to you to find out how we could send you your free stuff. But now we got to talk about all the stuff going on this week. I definitely want to know what you guys think about all of that inside baseball stuff with Sony's leadership changing, with the fact that something like the PS5 is on the horizon, and the fact that Sony is focusing on spending more money on high quality, exclusive experiences. Also, the Nintendo Direct. What was your favorite thing to be announced from it? You know mine, but I'm curious to see what you guys think. Also, let's do something fun, too. Let's talk about that Spotify Capcom stuff that just dropped. What is your favorite thing to listen to? What is one of your favorite video game soundtracks of all time? Maybe not like during a game, but do you have one that you actually would just put on and listen to when you're not playing the game? I want to hear from you guys. As I always say, thank you guys for coming around. I'm here every Friday. We're talking about all this stuff, but we're also live every Tuesday, 4 p.m. Eastern. If you ever want to check out a little talk show where we just talk about the newest games and stuff, definitely do that. But clicking the like button is the best way you can help us out. We would really appreciate that. But if you are new, consider subscribing and hitting that notification bell because, we put out stuff every single day. But as always, thanks for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Pizza's on me.